All right. So welcome to the September 18th, 2017 Board of Selectmen's meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Righty. So we're going to move the agenda around to accommodate a few folks. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to jump right to number 14. Consider the appointment of Tyler Peabody as a police officer. Chief.
Good evening. All right, so we are still down a few positions. This position is going to be replacing when Chief Warren left. His position went vacant for the remainder of the fiscal year, and then July we posted for his position to be filled, to get us back up to where we should be number-wise. So we conducted a interview process. Myself, Sergeant Hoare, and the town administrator interviewed 3 candidates that made it to the finals. With that, we had a rating system. Tyler's here before he came out number 1 in the process. Tyler's a resident from town, lived here since he's 1 year old, over in Springbrook. Recently graduated the Reading Police Academy, graduated in the top of his class, the top portion of his class. Also received the award for EVOC training. That was presented to him, so now we know he's a safe driver, so it's always a good investment to get someone that knows how to drive in dangerous situations. He has been going to Endicott College for his bachelor's. You have finished that, right? Yep, he just finished it while he was going to the academy. So not only did he go to a full-time police academy, he finished up his degree and got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He did an internship with us last year. 2 years previous, he did an internship with Milford National. Not Milford National, Milford court system, so he knows the court system, he knows the system, the way we do things here. He's been very involved with the community for the past few years from what I've seen. He has strong roots in this town, wants to serve his community. Can't think of a better candidate. I'm glad that he came out towards the top of it. I think when I got in, I told you guys this is the type of department I want. I want guys who are invested into this community, who are part of this community, who care about this community, and Tyler certainly is that person. Feel proud that he's going to be the first person I appoint because he's exactly what Mendon is looking for in the department. So I would make a recommendation to appoint him as a police officer in this town.
Okay, great.
I don't know if you guys have any questions for Tyler or questions for me.
Mark? No?
I move to appoint Tyler Peabody as police officer.
I'll step down in second. Just one quick comment. Chief, I appreciate your candor and I appreciate your recommendation. So,
Thank you.
all in favor?
I have a comment before I say it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mark.
I just would say that, Tyler, I know you've interned with the police department, and being from Mendon, having that piece of commitment is important. So I'm really happy to see you joining the department, and best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to join.
Yeah, I mean, one of the coolest things about being a selectman is we actually get to appoint key positions in the community. So I look forward to seeing you in 20 years and being a longtime police officer in our community. So,
Thank you, sir.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, welcome aboard.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. All right, good job, Chief. Just, there's one other agenda item. if you
I'll
wouldn't
stay
mind.
for it.
Okay, we'll make it very quickly. Bear with me. Should we get a picture? Can we get a picture with this? We'll do it with the flag behind us. Sorry, Kevin. I gotta get Kevin out of here quick, so we're gonna buzz through this.
Right in the middle. Thank you very much.
push in a little bit. Chris, can you move that chair? Gotta be tighter, a little tighter. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna take 2. 1, 2, 3.
That was 3.
See you in the morning.
No speeding around town. All right, so this is real quick, Kevin, before I jump to you. Chief, this was agenda item number 6, consider the placement of a stop sign at Pleasant Street and Park Streets. We had tabled it. I know that you had discussed it in a few meetings where I wasn't here, and then last meeting, you couldn't join us. There was a resident in town who was making a recommendation to put the stop sign in. Actually, Mark, you weren't here last meeting either. We went through different scenarios. Our highway surveyor was here. We kind of danced around, do we need to put stop signs there? Should we put stop signs there? Or are there other options?
Yep.
Selectman Schofield, I had reiterated some of the comments that you made to me about putting yield signs there, thinking that that would be a good solution, just due to the width of the intersection and where the placement of the stop signs could go. That could be confusing to residents, et cetera. Selectman Schofield unfortunately isn't here tonight, but he wanted to hear from you,
Okay.
on that.
Did the resident come in last meeting?
He did.
Okay.
He did. And, he was fine with whichever way that we went. He was expressing his concern about just the high speed of traffic going down into that intersection. So Selectman Schofield's perfectly fine with you commenting to Selectman Reel and myself on this matter, and hopefully we can just put it to bed one way or another.
Yes. My opinion would be to probably have a yield sign over on Pleasant Street. I mean, I live over there. Most people know I live there, and that seems like the natural, every time I drive that way, bring the kids to school, that's where I yield anyways. Park is a continuous street, so you wouldn't want to ask them to start yielding. So I think Pleasant Street would be the obvious choice. You could put it back maybe. We could do a yield sign behind. I don't know what your opinion is on it, but I think probably Pleasant Street would be the one to yield. Yeah. I think a yield sign, but I don't know about a stop sign. Just because the amount of traffic that we get, I don't really.
Not a lot.
Yeah, and then the thing is, I guess you'd have to put like stop sign ahead and then put that stop sign somewhere and paint the road, because it widens up like this, so. That's why I almost think like yield ahead, so people know they have to yield the traffic there, and if there is an accident or something takes place, we can cite them if they don't yield to oncoming traffic. But for the amount of traffic that actually goes through there, I don't know how you feel about it, Alan.
I think a yield sign would be okay.
Yeah.
And then, if like, like the chief said, if there's an issue there, then we can address it at that time there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've personally been around for quite some time. I have never been to an accident there, seen an accident there, or heard of an accident there.
We haven't had any multi-car accidents there. We've had single-car accidents, but that has nothing to do with stop signs or yield signs. They're off the stone wall, they're going too fast, but multi-car accidents, we haven't had them. I mean, my wife drives that way every single day to bring the kids to school over in Whitensville at the Christian school, and I mean, when I take the kids, I think I'm the only car that I see at 8:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's just not a high-traffic area.
Gotcha. I mean, listen, I'm fine with just putting a yield sign there, and if it still seems to become a big issue, then we could consider putting a stop sign there at a later date.
Yeah.
And revisit it. What do you think, Mark?
It's fine.
Okay. All right.
Good.
Any questions about that, Mark?
No?
Okay, I'll take a motion on that then.
Do we need a motion for a yield sign? No.
We don't? You just put it there?
Yeah, just puts it.
Okay, all right, well, there you go. So then,
And I can call the individual who made the complaint. Maybe Alan and I will get together tomorrow. We'll give him a call.
Okay.
all right,
Thank you.
very good. Excellent. All right.
And then you need me for the parade route, so he needs me too.
Okay,
seconds.
so the parade route. All right, so consider the approval to change the route of the 350th anniversary parade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you may realize, we changed the route of the parade several weeks ago, and in dotting the i's and crossing our t's, I realized we did not come back to you for approval of the street closing for the new route. Chief Kersey and his public safety staff were the ones who requested we change the route to North Avenue. And I'd just like to ask to verify that.
Yeah, we absolutely did.
No, you know
We
what,
went over
we're
the
not-
logistics of the other one, it was a mess, so.
Sorry, we're not going to approve it.
And in fact, I talked to someone at the state that Selectman Real actually referred me to, and they were going to say it was going to be a problem on 16. It
We,
was definitely going to be a problem. Traffic's much different than it was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
to my embarrassment, we notified by mail every house along the route except for Selectman Burke's, because I forgot your street. I'm embarrassed about that.
That's
But we
okay.
did send a letter to everybody on the street explaining what we were doing, just as we did with the other route. We're all planned and ready to go. I know Dan's trying to set up a meeting with you tomorrow, I
Yep.
think, for
Yep, and John, and we're going to get
one of our
together.
final things, but other than that, yeah, I mean, we're fairly ready to go. But in dotting the i's and crossing the t's, I was away on vacation when the change was made. I came back and mentioned at last week's meeting, hey, guys, did you guys go before the selectmen and get the new route approved? And there's, little red faces because nobody did, so that's why we're here.
Okay.
Apologize for the delay, but it was one of those things that
That's
got
okay.
overlooked.
All right, I move to change the route of the 350th anniversary parade from Emerson to Morrison Drive to Misco School to Clough School on North Avenue.
Step down in second. Just remind me of the times
Um,
that it'll be closed.
We're probably going to close the road around, what, noon, Chief?
Yeah.
Noon. The parade will kick off at 1, and the way we've arranged it is people will be flowing in different directions, spectators towards Upton and parade participants towards downtown as people leave to ease the traffic flow. But I would say by noon, we'll close the road and then reopen it.
Play it by 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, say 6 to be
I
safe.
think it'll be open a lot sooner than that, but
Yeah. I know that they were saying they were planning 1 to 4, but then if you're going to have the vendors there and
Yeah.
selling some food,
we have grown to 5 divisions of parade participants, so it's quite a good parade.
Okay.
I'd say 6, but just be safe, to be safe. It could be much, much earlier.
Excellent. And I won't have to go too far to get home. So, great.
No, jokingly, you can march down and turn into your street and go home.
There you go. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, very good.
Thank you, and again,
Thank you.
apologize that we didn't come sooner. I think we missed your last agenda anyway, but thank you.
That's okay. Did you want me to do the Eagle Scout while you're here? I mean, that kind of puts me...
Actually, I was here for the Cannon Bottle Drive, but that's kind of automatic.
Oh, that's right, okay, let me jump onto that. I don't think you need to be here for that. But we can do it while you're here real quick. Where's that? And we're kind of jumping all over the place here to get you out of here.
I would like you to approve the citation for Brian St. John. Who
I'm looking for the...
Chris is number 5 under correspond, for the Cannon.
Oh, okay, thank you very
Sure,
much.
no problem.
Basically, Troop 44 is asking for September 30th in the parking lot, same as they've done for the last 10 years.
Okay.
I move to approve Troop 44 Mendon Boy Scouts to hold a cannon bottle drive from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, September 30th in the Town Hall parking lot.
Step down in second. I don't think there's any discussion we need to have on this.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And you have our insurance certificate was attached to the letter I sent
Yes, I
to
have it.
Laura that covers us through 2018.
Great.
All right, very cool.
And obviously, I'm in favor of you guys giving Brian St. John a citation, but I'll leave that up to you.
Okay, all right, very good. Thanks,
Thank
Kevin,
you.
thanks,
Thanks for
Chief.
squeezing us in, appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna jump back to number 4, Mark.
Okay.
See any citizens here that want to make statements or petitions, so.
No.
What's Michelle, you want to jump up and say? All right. All right, so a citation and proclamation. So this is for Eagle Scout citation, Brian St. John. So whereas in this era when traditional precepts, the faith and morality appear seriously threatened, it's refreshing to find wholesome American young men who support and respect our sacred institutions, and whereas the Boy Scouts of America instills teamwork and leadership qualities in young men, further promoting the development of strong character, good citizenship, and lasting friendship, and whereas the Boy Scouts of America have made vital contributions to the youth of Mendon through training in the art of living in the great outdoors while building self-reliance, and whereas Scout Brian St. John earned the minimum of 21 required and 15 other merit badges and served his troop in a variety of leadership roles. Brian has completed his Eagle Scout Leadership Service project by leading a group of scouts and adults to build and erect a sign kiosk at the entrance of the Mendon Town Forest Trail. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Mendon, Massachusetts, do hereby, on this date, September 24, 2017, award this citation to Eagle Scout Brian St. John. He has completed all the requirements required to earn Scouting's highest rank under the outstanding leadership and direction of Scoutmasters and other adult leaders of Troop 44, Mendon, Massachusetts. Congratulations, Eagle Scout Brian St. John.
Very good.
All right. So we'll sign that citation later on.
Sure.
Very cool. I love, we have a ton of Eagle Scouts. I think that's
We
awesome.
do, we seem to have a lot.
That's fantastic. All right. So, boy, we got a whole bunch of Allen work to do tonight, huh?
You know it.
So, see, consider the Chapter 90 project request amendment to the project for chip seal for Providence Street to Maple Street due to an increase in the scope of work. Alan, you want to come up and talk to us about that?
Good evening. This project, I just increased the scope of the chip sealing to incorporate all the way down to the Hartford Avenue East, where Providence Street takes a right, that intersection down there, decreased it by 9,746 yards at a cost of $43,857.81.
What was the cost?
The additional cost was $43,857.81.
Do you know, is that gonna address that, when you come to the stop sign there?
I got to address that.
Okay, separate. Okay.
Okay. And that's well within the balances that we have in the Chapter 90 funding?
What's that?
That's within the balances of what we have in the chapter? Okay. Very cool.
Okay, I move to approve the Chapter 90 project request amendment for chip seal on Providence Street to Maple Street due to an increase in the scope of work.
Step down in second. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Okay, so number 10 is consider the Chapter 90 reimbursement request for chip seal for Providence Street to Maple Street.
I move to approve the Chapter 90 reimbursement request for chip seal on Providence Street to Maple Street.
Alan, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so that reimbursement request is in for the sum of $164,819.87. And that will close out the Providence Street project for this year.
Okay. Any further discussion on that?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Alright, number 11, consider the Chapter 90 project request amendment for the construction improvements made to their road due to an overage. You want to talk about that?
I move to approve the Chapter 90 project amendment for construction improvements made on Thayer Road due to an overage.
Step down in second. What do we got going there?
Okay, that road there, it just took more to, that road was shimmed and leveled, and then we put a top coat over it, and we went over by 180.2 tons at a total cost of $12,974.40.
That project's complete?
What's that?
And that project's
Yes.
still complete?
Project's complete.
Okay. Any more discussion on that, Mark?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. All right, consider the Chapter 90 reimbursement request for construction improvements on Thayer Road.
I move to approve the Chapter 90 reimbursement request for construction improvements on Thayer Road.
Step down a second.
So that project was increased from $30,240 to $43,214.40. And that will complete Thayer Road.
So that was with the additional overage and the original 30,000?
Yep.
Okay. All right, cool. Any further discussion on that?
No?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I think that's it for you, man. Very good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll have to sign those, right?
No, these are
I got 'em right
copies.
Oh, you got them right there? Okay. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. Consider the appointment of Janice Muldoon Moores to the local historic district commission.
I move to appoint Janice Muldoon Moores to the local historic district commission for a term to expire on June 30th, 2019.
Step down a second. Is Janice here?
No.
See her? Was she asked to come here? Do we know?
This is the one where Mike Goddard was at the last meeting, and that she's with the Historical Commission, and that they voted to appoint her to this commission. And he provided us with the letter that they voted to appoint her.
Yeah, that's right, okay. Okay.
Yes, so she's on the, okay, so she's already on the historic, makes sense.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
All right. Any discussion on that, Mark?
No.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we did Tyler already. I love appointing police officers, that's awesome. Okay. One second, Bill. So the Mendon housing update.
Hello,
Perfect
everybody.
timing.
It's funny, I thought Selectman Schofield was going to be here, but you wouldn't be here tonight.
Unfortunately, he's traveling, so you
That's
get
funny.
us two fine gentlemen.
So that's okay. So I have a couple of purposes to be here. One is to create a segue between the last time we did a workshop with Central Mass Regional Planning and the next one, which is coming up October 2nd, correct? You said something about October 6th. We can talk later.
Yeah.
That's fine. To also give you sort of anecdotal, just a reflection on my experiences between the last workshop and the upcoming one, and then bring that to a point, and then bring up one more item to consider. So, as far as the workshop for concerning 52 Providence, CMRPC will be here for the next workshop. I've contacted Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals to try to foster a team effort here and bring people on board to the conversation. So we're working together and understanding each other. CMRPC is going to present the results of the visual preference survey and ask for your feedback on the guidelines that they've created, and to share with you the draft of the RFP that they're creating, and again, to get your feedback on that. So, unless you have specific questions about that, about 52 Providence, I'm not here necessarily to discuss that further, but if there's anything you want to discuss before they get here again, I'm happy to entertain that.
Sounds like a big night on October 2nd.
Well, right, and perhaps we should, I know you have a full agenda, so maybe we should think about other ways to plan that, I don't
How
know.
long do you think it'll take?
Well, again, it would be, I don't know, I can find out, and if you really have a packed night, we could defer it to another date. I mean,
Why don't, I feel like we should send a formal invite to Planning and Board of Appeals and have a designated meeting just for this workshop. I think it's something we shouldn't throw in at the end of a meeting when
Yeah,
we're all
exactly.
ready to go,
I appreciate that.
you know, because you know that's where it would end up.
Yeah. I agree, Mark, and that's why I was asking how long it would take and what, I don't know.
We don't have to take long. I mean, last time, you had asked that we keep it like to an hour, and of course, it's an engaging conversation. It actually is interesting, and we ended up going way over, but
I don't mind dedicating a particular night just for this conversation.
whatever you like. I mean, if you'd like to,
Invite all committees, like,
Yeah.
you know, just to,
Yeah, I agree, Mark. That's
Everyone.
a great idea. I think that's a fantastic idea. So why don't we just pick a specific night? Can we have like a week or so to pick the
Oh,
night?
sure.
Yeah. All right. I wasn't sure how fast we have to get back to CMRPC.
no,
and stuff
the
like
fact that I can tell them it'll probably be deferred is good enough.
Okay. Yeah, and then why don't we just pick a night, because we're gonna have a lot coming up with the planning of the STM and everything.
Right.
So it could be just that we end up doing, two meetings in 1 week or something like that.
Yeah.
Where we do our agenda items on a Monday and on Wednesday we meet with you folks or something like that.
Right.
That sound like a good idea? Okay, so why don't we do that? Okay?
Yep.
What else?
So, just pretty quickly, it was very interesting to me to watch the interaction, the thinking, the reaction to the last workshop among the selectmen. And, I sense that afterwards, everybody's going, wow, this is incredibly real, and we've got a lot to do, we've got a lot to figure out. And very soon after that, I went to the biggest housing conference of the year. It's all the people in Massachusetts who are working on affordable housing from different angles. And, it gave me a lot to think about, because I've been going to these conferences for a long time, and everything's hypothetical, and you're trying to figure out what it means, you're trying to figure out how you're ever going to make it workable. And then suddenly this year, I've got a specific project in mind, and everything that's been said to me over the past number of years has come, right back to, incredible focus. And, I was thinking of you folks. I was thinking, wow, it'd be so nice if you were here to sort of absorb this at the same time as I was. But anyway, basically, it's that, we've been bumping along the bottom for a long time, trying to figure out what to do. At the beginning, we have proposed a few sort of bylaw-type initiatives, and the general reaction was kind of like, what's going on? What's this all about? Why do we need this? And we didn't, because we didn't know what we were doing. And then now that we've got a real site, and we can, consider the big picture in the context of, doing something at this site, a couple things that were often repeated at this conference really rang home with me, and I'd just like to repeat them. And one is that this work is never easy. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it. There'd be a lot of people sort of in the business pushing it. It would happen quickly. And that for the most part, it requires willpower, because the numbers don't usually work. Most often they don't work. And so you just have to be, flexible and persistent. And the reason that you do it is because it's the right thing to do, even if the numbers don't say that it could ever happen. But we're in a very fortunate situation, because we do have control of this site, and we do have some consensus on the need and the benefits of doing such a project. And it's a small enough project and we're approaching it in a way to make it, very Mendon, instead of trying to push something through. And we're, like I said, since we're in control of it and we're in control of the RFP, I think we have a really, great chance of success. So I do expect it's not going to be necessarily a rough road, but it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of work, and I'm thrilled to be busy working on it.
Well, it's
So-
beginning steps,
Yeah, but it feels like it's been a glacial pace till now, and that's very frustrating to me. But it's starting to make some sense. So what I wanted to segue to on that is, one of the things that we had brought forward a number of years ago, actually, is considering a housing production plan. And I think you're familiar with that, but it basically is a statement that you file with DHCD that basically reports on your need assessment and lays out your plans, the town's plans, as to how it's going to get to a 10% affordable housing goal. The thing with the production plan is that it's not anything that the town is committing to in terms of specifics or dates. It's more just that. It's just a plan, a vision. And I brought along with me a copy of just the executive summary. The whole draft plan as it stands right now is about, I think it's 37 pages. But I wanted to just share with you could you pass it? Just the executive summary to show you what this thing covers. And the reason I didn't share with you in advance is that I didn't even really want you to read it in advance, because some of the details in here need to be updated. But if you just skim down the first sentence of every paragraph, Chapter 1 presents a breakdown of the current housing situation and the income situation and statistics about, home ownership and rental statistics. Chapter 2, more details on the housing stock, demonstrate, the types of housing that's currently in Mendon. Chapter 3 talks about the affordability gap and the argument for the need for affordable units. Chapter 4, populations in need of assistance. On the back, Chapter 5, the housing goals. Like I said, a lot of these numbers are not current. Chapter 6, developmental constraints. Chapter 7, action plan. We don't really need to get into any of these details, but when I was at this conference a few months ago, I spoke to our representative at DHCD and asked him, I said, we drafted this plan based on 2010 and the rolling census period up to 2014. And I said, should I submit this as it is, or do I really need to wait for new census data? And he said, we've already reviewed it because I've submitted it for first review. And he said, if I were you, I'd submit it. Now, the reason that I'm bringing this forward is because in the past, we really had no necessary reason for putting a housing plan out there. But if we start permitting affordable housing units and we have a production plan approved by DHCD, it can possibly give us safe harbor towards any other outside 40B coming in for a 1 or 2 year period. So as I said, to me, it's a no-brainer. I'll polish it up. I'll send you the 37-page document for your review, but I'm here to report that I think it's, other than the revision of the numbers, it's pretty much ready. We don't really have to fine-tune it to a great degree as long as there's general consensus on the arguments that are in there.
And as long as you're making, if somebody came to us with a 40B project that we weren't overly excited about.
You would have
We would have
some,
some protection with the.
right, not
plan.
guaranteed protection perhaps, but depends on the number of units
As long as we're
permitted.
making strides
Correct.
within the context of the plan, then.
Right.
Then we could reasonably block that.
Right, that's correct.
A significant plan.
That's
Okay, I just want
correct.
to make sure I understood it. Okay.
So I'm just putting that forward to you, that now is the time. Definitely, there's no reason why we should not move forward with this,
Okay.
as soon as possible. And that's really all I wanted to say tonight, if you have other questions.
Just another question. Does the, putting a plan in place and looking at the census at that time, so you said that they had already reviewed the census, does that census, is that a rolling target at that point going forward? Meaning if our census increases,
Oh, I see what you mean.
does now our 10% increase with that, or does it stay flat?
It's based on the number of housing units in town, so yes, it does roll
Okay.
forward.
Okay.
When I say, I had DHCD review the draft of our housing production plan,
Okay.
so they've already read it. They don't see any major problems with it. If we want to submit it, probably has a good chance of being approved.
Okay.
Very good.
Thanks for all your hard work on this. It's great. And,
I'm actually looking forward to really working hard on this.
yeah, I think the October 2nd, well, the next meeting that we have, that we schedule the date on, is going to be, that'll be a fun meeting. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Yeah, good.
Great.
All right, any questions for you, Mike?
No?
Thank you.
Oh, thank
Bill.
you. Thanks for coming on.
You want me to leave this routing slip that's all about Showtime Entertainment?
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, so let me just go down through and see what we've done already. Locking these out here, Mark. 15.
I move to authorize the town administrator to sign insurance agreements for LTD, STD, and AD&D.
Step down second. So, Kimberly sent a memo out on this earlier, Mark.
Yep.
This is just for folks to know, our long-term disability, our short-term disability, and our accidental death and disability policies are up for renewal, and our town administrators have been working extremely hard on getting us the best policy and rates that she can. So this allows her, authorizing her to enter into agreements. Any discussion on that?
None at all.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And there's no other topics anticipated. So I'll have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Thank you very much, everybody.